As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
The Pacific Experience Podcast.
Hello, all you fine people. Thank you so much for tuning in. You are with the Ickes podcast, and we are with you. I am your host, Lloyd, and with us we have
John Nuefer.
John Nuefer. Johnny boy, he's been with us in many episodes in the past. John, it's so good to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited. So this is episode 36. We're rocking, we're rolling. It is March what? March 9th? Yeah?
9th or 10th.
It's the 9th. It's the 9th. It is March 9th. You can be listening to this whenever, though. But here we are. We are live. We're kicking. We're rolling. We're so glad to be having you on the show. I want all of you to know that you can hit us up at packxpodcast.com. That is the website to get the latest and the greatest with the Ickes Podcast. Also, check us out on Instagram at PackXPod. Fuck Facebook. Fuck Twitter. But we got them. And you can also go to YouTube if you don't have any other podcast source. We're also on iTunes. We're on all of them. All of them but Spotify and Pandora. So we are so excited to have you, Johnny boy.
Thanks for the intro.
Hey. Good to have you here, man.
Thanks for having me.
Dude.
I'm excited.
You're excited?
Glad to be here. So.
You a little excited?
I'm kind of excited.
Are we going to do some I think we're going to do some voices. We've been getting pretty jacked up before this episode. We were standing here swinging our dicks around, just getting all fucking pumped up about it, you know.
Yeah, you know. Sometimes you got to swing the dick.
Oh, man. So, first of all, I would like to say something. John and I did something terrific today. Really awesome, and it was a last-minute thing. And I want to give a big shout-out to a huge influence to this podcast. Honestly, probably 80%. Fuck the percent if I'm to give a percent. But the Tinfoil Hat Podcast. It's kind of in the same ballpark of the stuff that we talk about here. Spiritual, Great Awakening, Conspiracies with a dash of comedy. They slam dunk us when it comes to comedy and the quality of it, but hey, you know what? They've been doing this for a long time. We're just getting started, but I want to give a big shout out to Sam Tripoli and Eddie Bravo. We actually posted some pictures. I got to meet them, shook their hands, got some pictures. They threw on one hell of a show up here in the Great Pacific Northwest in Tacoma, Washington. So, you know what? If any of you fans out there are fans of them, awesome. And if by chance I've been trying to get these guys to listen to my show, if they are listening, God bless you, gentlemen. Thank you so much for making it up here in the PNW. You put on one hell of a show. I admire everything you do, and the way that you take the Great Awakening and this rabbit hole and you add a big giant dash of you salt it up with fucking comedy, and that's what it's all about. So
It was a good show.
yeah, it was fucking hilarious.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I fucking love those guys. So here we are. Of course, I was already planning on podcasting tonight, anyways. That was a last-minute purchase. Got to go see them. That was great. And so we're fired up, especially after talking with those guys.
Yeah, it was good.
John, let me ask you this, man. You've been on the show several times in the past. In fact, you were on episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3. And then you were in there like 20 episodes in, again on another episode.
Tired episode.
Yeah. You fell asleep on one. I'm pretty sure episode 3 says... it's like, hang out with us when we get fired up and John drinks too much milk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Milk was the drink of the night that night. It was good.
But regardless, what I would like to talk about is the Great Awakening, taking the red fucking pill. Sure. You know what I mean? Or the blue pill. Do you want to stay asleep or do you want to wake up? John, I know you're awake. The fans here, at least who've been loyal fans since the beginning, know you're awake too.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about the balance between being awake and knowing this fucking insane world of conspiracies along with playing the game, essentially surviving in the Matrix. John, I want to ask you about this, man. What was your takeaway on a serious note, or I guess when it comes to the Great Awakening, after seeing Eddie Bravo and Sam Tripoli fucking knock it out of the park tonight?
Sure. So, yeah, no, it was fun to watch. It was good. These guys are true believers, true believers in countless conspiracies. Let's just say that. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think, it's a good thing in a lot of ways when we're talking about the awakening, right? Just seeing things for what they actually are. So I think that's really cool that, they have the ability to go for it, see past certain politics or whatever it is. But at the same time, I think my first impression, and I've watched Eddie Bravo a lot. It's my first time seeing the guy from Tinfoil Hat podcast.
Yeah.
So I know Eddie Bravo. I know his stances. I don't really know Tinfoil Hat guy. What's his name?
Sam Tripoli.
I'm sorry, Sam Tripoli. I'm sorry, I just didn't know who you were before. So.
Now you do.
Now I do.
Yeah.
So Sam's, but I think it's really important we all think for ourselves. But at the same time, I take caution. You need to take caution. You need to take caution. You can't just believe every conspiracy. And
a lot of conspiracy theorists out there do. You can look at them and say like the fucking sky is fake, and they jump on it, and they ruin it for us serious people out there who are trying to find the truth.
Yeah.
So, but not mind you too, and to kind of interrupt here, John. I've categorized conspiracies, and a certain category I put them into is a planter, is what I call it, and I believe that's a fake conspiracy put into the conspiracy community to divert us and make us sound like a bunch of fucking lunatics, like Flat Earth.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
That's just one example of the many to distract us from the real truth. And when you as a conspiracy theorist, you're like 9/11, dude, that's fucking obvious, right? And you're like talking about Michael Jackson, you're talking about George Bush. I mean, you're talking about all this fucking crazy real shit out there. And then you go say something like Flat Earth, everything that you believe in and you've talked about just goes out the window. At least to people who are on the fence or who are not awake.
I think the real conspiracies are right in front of our eyes.
Ooh.
I really do.
Well
so
said.
It's all everything that I think the real conspiracy really is right in front of us. I don't think we need to try to connect too many dots to see it. I think it's right in front of us. What is that mocking tongue that they use? The whole idea of mocking everybody right in front of you. So I think a lot of the conspiracies are actually far too they're far-fetched in a way because I need to speak closer to the mic.
Yeah, you do.
I'm getting a little critique over here on the mic usage.
You gotta
this is my
it, bro.
first time.
You gotta caress the fucking.
Well, my mouth is now on the mic. I'm touching.
Take it easy.
Licking. Okay,
yeah, we
okay,
don't want
okay.
Okay.
All right. Sometimes.
Sorry to interrupt.
I get a little bit rough on the mic, but
Yeah.
Take it slow and easy.
You gotta fuck. Oh, yeah, anyways, keep going. Yeah.
Well, no. What I'm trying to say is, I think the conspiracy. I think you're right. I think we are more distracted with the conspiracy.
100%.
I don't think the conspirator necessarily planted it in front of us and made us start thinking these things. I think it's been planted by our own skepticism. And I think the true conspiracy is in front of us all. I think the big conspiracy is to twist everything that's right, turn it backwards, and make us accept it as a society. It's right in front of our eyes. We don't need to blame,
capitalism.
Well, no. What I'm saying is we don't need to blame. All right, say it's a flat Earth, and so there's some small group trying to control us all through this fake world or whatever, New World Order or whatever. I'm sure there's a new world coming on, but I think it's right in front of us, and most of the people in this world who believe in, let's just say, well, you know what, socialism. I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
Communism, and there's a big belief, and there's a lot of people in the United States and the world that think this is the right way to move forward in society, and I think everything that's right is being twisted and turned to be wrong, and everything that's wrong is getting twisted and turned to be right, and it's right in front of our eyes, so I don't think we need to look too far and talk about this awakening in terms of all these conspiracies. I mean, just look right in front of us. I think America is getting twisted in knots, and it's obvious.
I think that's part of the Great Awakening, dude, is you're saying it's right in front of us and it's obvious, and you're right. It doesn't take you to dive down some rabbit hole to realize that shit's fucked up and there's a small group of criminals controlling the world.
Yeah.
That's very clear. Yeah. I remember teachers we had in high school, the good teachers, teaching us that. I remember we had one teacher, I'm not going to say his name, but he straight up showed us this YouTube video to demonstrate how money was created out of thin air. And he was so passionate about this, and he was just dissing the Federal Reserve. And he was mad, and he's trying to teach. That's not in the fucking textbook to teach us. Mm-hmm. It's not, but that's him doing his job as a teacher. And I think that's ultimately where it began is you have conspiracy theorists, like Alex Jones back in the 80s talking to David Icke about reptilians and shit. And so I think where everything really started was with 9/11. That's when I think after that started becoming questionable. That's when shit was like, okay, whoa, what the fuck's going on?
When did The Matrix come out?
90s?
Was it the 90s? Because if we're talking blue pill, red pill.
Yeah. In fact, the creators of The Matrix were two sisters that had sex changes to boys.
Really?
Twins. Yes. Because I looked into it. They made no other movies. And so I think it was. Yes, it was. It was early 2000s, late 90s. Is when
sex changes?
They did. They
The
had,
girls
they were
turned into boys?
They were two twins.
How does that work?
Girls. And they had sex change to boys.
How does that work?
It's what, a sex change? Well,
From a
John,
girl
what you
to a
see
boy.
is what happens.
Well, I
is, I'm
understand
just-
how you can turn a girl to a boy,
It's
but
2019, dude.
all right, whatever.
People
Whatever.
are arguing about how many fucking genders there are.
I don't understand.
Anyways, I can't recall. You know, we could look it up,
Like
but we
a
don't
little
like to.
inflatable thing, you know? Like, how do you do that? I can inverse anything. I can inverse all day, but outverse? What is outverse? All right, whatever. We can get beyond that. Matrix,
Yeah.
great movie.
It is.
Will Smith was supposed to do the role, apparently. We've all
I
seen
heard about that.
shit, but whatever. Neo.
Yeah, yeah.
legit.
Keanu Reeves. killed
Keanu
it.
Reeves
Yeah,
killed
yeah. You know, it's we 9/11. It's like that's the best part is the conspiracy. It hides itself. You know what I mean? When you talk about these planters, look, if I believe flat Earth was a planter, because why is that an issue all of a sudden? Out of nowhere, that's a fucking issue, right? When
flat
shit's
Earth.
when space.
Planter. Okay, planter.
That was a conspiracy
okay,
planted
understood. Got
to
it.
make the conspiracy community. And I hate even calling it a conspiracy, dude.
Planet Earth is a Planet Earth was created from the Truman Show. Like, when was that? When did that movie come out? The 90s.
Yeah,
That's Truman Show, dude.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
Truman
yeah,
Show.
Yeah, totally.
Truman Show.
Right.
Get out of
Right,
here
right.
with your Planet Earth.
Yeah, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, dude.
Fucking
Exactly.
Truman Show.
And that's just the thing, man. Is it's very obvious. Look, exactly. You don't have to be a fucking rabbit hole diving conspiracy insane motherfucker like myself to to know that shit's fucked up. To know that the reason why Q exists and why some folk are following Q and some folk mock Q, but ultimately think about this: everything we know is what we've been told. Now, the other thing, and I've reiterated this on many episodes, the thing that is limiting us is language.
Whoa, what am I drinking?
You're drinking a piece of shit, dude. I bought that the other day. There's no carbonation.
Dude.
You don't have to drink that. I won't be upset.
I'm okay with the no carbonation.
I mean, it tastes like a
I was
fucking.
expecting an IPA, and I just
That's not an
drank into a
IPA,
hard
dude.
cider.
That's like a fucking.
Not a fan of
You
cider.
know what? That's like a that fucking latte, that one time of the year pumpkin spice
just
latte
planted
from
you.
Starbucks. That's what that is
I just
in a
planted you.
fucking beer.
I planted the conspiracy.
Yeah, you just diverted me from talking about
Diverted.
the fucking truth.
Boom.
Son of a bitch.
Take
Work
it.
for the CIA, motherfucker. No,
I
but
do.
yeah, there's a lot of folk out there
I was just pouring it out.
are skeptical of it. But
There we go.
fuck, what was I saying?
I diverted you, and now you don't know what you're saying,
God
and
damn
now
it, John.
you don't know what the fuck is going on, and that's a planter.
I suppose.
Well, let's talk about this. What? Okay, so hundreds of conspiracies. What is the root purpose of all
I would love to
the
answer that.
conspiracies?
I would love to
What's
answer
the
that.
purpose?
I think I know the answer.
All right, sure, go ahead.
In
Go
fact,
ahead.
I do know the answer.
Tell me what you think the answer is.
Here's what I think. The root of all conspiracies,
What's the end game? That's what I'm
the
asking.
end game, consuming negative energy.
What the fuck does that mean?
Hear me out. You asked the question, I'd love to answer it. The root of all fucking conspiracies,
end
the
game.
moon landing, 9/11, fucking all of it, dude.
Negative energy.
Negative energy.
All
So
right, what does
now
that
let's
even
look at
mean,
this. So for
negative
you and I to
energy?
exist, we're living beings, right?
Yeah.
For us to continue living, what do we have to consume? Energy. Whether it be from a plant, a bean, a seed, some meat, right? We consume energy.
We consume food, and then we make it into energy.
Correct.
I have to
Yeah, we can talk about the
correct
circle of
you.
life, but to bear on this, to stick on this point here, we consume energy to live, right? It's not necessarily
Dude,
it's not negative or
we-
positive. It's just
Have
energy.
you seen The Matrix?
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Humans create energy.
Exactly. Yes, humans are energy. I don't remember the exact statistic.
Stopping you at the root.
I don't remember the exact statistic, but a human produces an X amount of electricity. You can power like a light bulb off a human being.
You got a heartbeat?
Yeah. There's static electricity going on there, right? Exactly. Now, John, where I'm getting this answer is from people who I give a stamp of a green light on, who I agree, you know what, you're real shit, I'm following you. And they're people who've devoted their life to finding the truth. These people are Max Egan, David Icke. There's many more out there, but those are going to be the two that I'm going to use an example of. Those are my two favorite to follow. Max Egan, David Icke have spent their entire lives trying to find the truth. And what David Icke...
What truth are they looking for?
The truth of why is the world under control by these criminals? What is the root of all these conspiracies? Why aren't humans just in harmony doing whatever it is the fuck we're supposed to do?
Have they considered that humans are inherently evil?
See, that's what we're told to think. We're programmed to think
Wrong.
that. And here's the thing. We are. We are
Wrong.
Inherently evil.
Wrong.
Have we...
Oh, yeah, we are inherently evil.
Yes.
But we weren't programmed to think that way. We are.
We are. And I agree with you, but it's just like, okay, man, if you take a prison full of criminals and you're like, you're all bad people because you all made bad decisions. Yes, correct, they have. And now you have a bad environment that breeds worse behavior, right? Now, what if these criminals were in there for life, but they were allowed to live and have a family and have kids? But the kids were born in the prison. And the kids grew up. And they had kids. And they had kids. And technology advanced. And the prison itself grew and advanced. A.k.a. society.
Yeah.
So it all roots back to was it Adam eating the Adam eating the fucking apple? Was it Eve being convinced to eat the apple?
Uh-huh.
Fuck yeah, it was.
Uh-huh.
And who convinced Eve to eat the fucking apple out of the Garden of Eden?
The serpent.
The fucking serpent, dude. What is the symbol for DNA? Or I'm sorry, the medical symbol.
Two serpents.
Two serpents
Like
making,
coiling
intertwining
around each other.
the symbol of DNA.
Uh-huh.
Okay? David Icke says, let's get ready to shit our pants and laugh here. The world is run by reptilians.
Okay.
Now, this isn't a fucking lizard person walking around, and they are shape-shifting, but when you say shape-shifting, this ain't like what we saw in Goosebumps in the 90s where you're a human and you physically...
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. We all know that.
What?
That's insane. You can't physically,
Shape
morph
shift?
and shift.
If you're a reptilian, you probably can.
Probably can't, right? Because they can blend in with their environment. Now, here's the thing: is that with our eyesight, we can only see. I don't remember the exact percent. It's very small, like 17%. With the human eyeball,
Spectrum.
we can only see 17% of the spectrum of light.
It's like the light spectrum. Yeah.
Right. Only 17%.
We can't see X-rays. We can't see
Right.
UV rays.
Exactly.
Or whatever.
So what's in that other spectrum are other entities. Are other entities, these evil beings.
Sure.
Right? Which are these reptilians.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they shapeshift. They're not physically what you and I looking at my
Are we
hand
talking
right
about?
now.
Are we talking about demons?
Yes, my friend.
Maybe they're just demons.
Yes.
Maybe the big conspiracy is really about God or the devil versus the God.
Could be.
That's the big
It
conspiracy.
could be. But
why do we
here's-
have to tie reptiles into this and make it a big alien conspiracy?
Because it's not. No, not like
How-
that. It's not reptiles that are.
I feel like
don't
we've
know.
had the answer from the beginning.
We have, but here's the thing, dude. The answer has been given to us by the good, but the answer has been morphed throughout many, many years to have us not find the truth and find harmony within the universe and not have fear. It's been morphed to have us obey to an authority, right? Because what's most people out there's takeaway about
All right,
God and this
we
and that, right? It's about you stay in line, you be good, or you don't get into heaven.
That's right.
Right, but what if instead it's supposed to be, hey, find yourself spiritually, be in harmony, and that's how you access heaven, is by being spiritually advanced, being in harmony with yourself, therefore not causing negative to other people. These evil entities feed off of our negative energy. Just how we feed off of the energy from a plant that received its energy from the sun, how we feed off the energy of meat that came from a cow that ate grass, that all came from the sun, the circle of life. So that's the core, the root to all this. Now the question is, what happened then? Look at the Bible.
What's the end
look at
goal?
I don't know.
Damn it.
We'll get there.
We're
That's
gonna
the thing.
talk
Your
about
mind wants to
frickin'
jump ahead.
conspiracy.
I'm getting there. Let me work it. I'm
All
getting
right,
there.
I'll
You
let you
can't
work
just
it.
read the beginning of the Bible and
I
be
have
like,
to ask.
this is bullshit, and jump
Listen.
to the end. Okay? Look at the Bible, what the Bible says. And everyone, people who are religious to
Hold
it or
on.
not, use
Most-
that as a basis.
I feel like conspiracy is more about, science and facts, and the Bible's written off most of the time.
To say science,
Bible
though,
gets
science
written
is
off.
so broad because
I know.
articles of news from a university will claim science. Dude, science is you can't say something is religious or scientific because it's all only what we've been told,
The
right?
Bible gets written off.
It does, but here,
That's why we're
bear
talking
with
about
me here.
reptilians and not demons.
Bear with me here. It's the same thing, John. But bear with me here.
Okay.
When you look in the Bible and you see that a serpent told Eve to eat the apple out of the fucking tree of life,
Yes.
right? In the Garden of Eden, right? And
Yes.
then they could see more. Their spectrum was increased.
Yeah.
Therefore, for in this third dimension, for how much good is allowed, evil gets to play too. Evil, just as much evil can come in too, right? Therefore, the world is. We have been dumbed down to not fight that evil off. Therefore, evil is now 80% of the world and good is only 20% or whatever it else may be because we've allowed it to because you can't help us. I use the analogy of a domesticated dog all the time, right? The dog, you go put the dog out in the wild, the dog's not going to survive. The dog was born, 8 weeks, separated from mom, fucking snipped at whatever time, put into a crate, learned to eat food out of the dish. If the food isn't in the dish, the dog's like, how do I eat? And is going to go find a mouse or some shit in the backyard and eventually be like, I can't live off this and die because the dog has been domesticated. Us as humans have been domesticated. Now, to go back to the point I was saying.
Sorry.
Yeah, apologies to the fans there. They're listening probably full blast of volume in the car.
You should like that.
Listening to your fucking nasty ass burp.
It's a delicious belch.
The serpent told Eve to eat it, right? Do you really think that a fucking snake, talking snake, was like, eat the apple? No, it's all symbology. All of it.
Symbolism.
Thank you. I said symbology. Ding! There's one ringer for me. Three more strikes and I'm out. There's one strike. Exactly. It's symbolism. Okay? It is obviously fucking everything is symbolism. Okay? The Trinity of Trinities.
The entire Bible's symbolism.
Pretty much. I'm not going to say the entire Bible. Again, our minds want to just put a stamp on everything as a whole. Like we heard in the show tonight, Eddie Bravo was saying it's lazy to say everything is a conspiracy.
Right.
That's what the human brain does. We want to know the truth right now. We give anything 8 seconds of our attention, and we make a decision on it. Whether it's a girl hitting on us, whether a girl is having a guy hit on them, you give it 8 seconds. Whether you're browsing a menu, whether you're watching a commercial, you give it 8 seconds, and you make a final decision as if you've collected all the data on it. Listen, the amount of data you can collect on any decision to make is endless. Endless, from deciding on how to cook your fucking burger to deciding what clothes you want to wear today.
Okay.
You can collect as much data as you want. Okay, and so what you're talking about now is, well, you keep interrupting me, John. You're saying, well, what's the end result? Well, so the whole Bible's a symbolism. No. I'm talking about one
what is the
section
end game?
of the Bible.
What's the end game?
The end game
If
is
we're
that
gonna make, you can't make all these fucking conspiracy. Or
I'm not
Hold
making
on,
this
hold on.
up, dude.
I'm
I'm
not
validating
saying
what.
you're making it up.
Okay.
There's just so many conspiracies. If it's a flat Earth, what's the end game? Why is there flat Earth? If
To
it's
distract us.
it's this, if it's that, like, what's the end game? Just tell me.
The end game
Yes.
is to have the world in constant fear, because when we're in fear, the energy, our negative energy, when we're in fear, gives the energy needed to these evil entities to continue on to secrets that we can't even imagine, which could be eternal life, which could be advancement in the dimensions, which could be them being more powerful in this third dimension. Okay, that's what they do. They feed off of our negative energy. If we are in a constant state of fear, you're fearing about your debt, you're fearing about money, you're fearing about your relationship, your health, the way you look, everything. They feed off of that. Now, you're knocking several birds with one stone here. Not only do they feed off of that negative energy, but the thing that the deep state, that these evil entities fear the most, is an educated, enlightened civilization. Because if we're educated and we're enlightened, then we won't tolerate with this. We won't fall into the traps.
Aren't you living in fear right now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All the time.
The conspiracy is fear. It's the plant
Do you think that's
you're
how life
planting
is
it.
supposed to be, though? Is just constant fear and fear and fear?
I think fear in God is a good thing.
Really?
Put the fear of God in them. You ever hear that phrase?
Absolutely, all
It's
the time.
a good thing. You know why it's a good thing? Because it creates morals. Legitimate morals.
Right. But the fear of God, and I agree with you, John, but originally, the fear of God didn't need to be there. It didn't need to be there until these evil fucking entities...
Originally it didn't. And
No.
now we're living in a fallen world, which is why there's so
Yes.
much death and suffering.
Yes,
It's
correct.
a fallen world. It's a failed creation. What
I wouldn't
think-
say a failed creation.
Oh,
I would
it's
say
failed.
a creation that
Failed.
was hijacked.
It's failed.
A creation that was hijacked.
Failed creation. God apologized in Genesis for ever creating man.
That's true.
Read it.
That's true. No, I've read
He
Genesis.
apologizes. He says, "I'm
hundreds of
sorry
times.
I ever created this." It's a fallen world.
But could that be symbolism?
Failed creation. That's why we all have to die, and that's why. And it also reads that
So-
the devil is the king of this world. The devil is the god of this world.
Exactly. And I believe that. And it's all evil entities
Yeah.
feeding off of our energy.
So I think all these conspiracies are they're just all coming to the same conclusion, and it all reads in the Bible. I really do think that. And I think the
I can agree.
Yeah, I think the biggest conspiracy, one of the largest conspiracies out there, and one of the biggest causes for most deaths in the world. Are we still on? Yeah. All right. I think one of the biggest conspiracies, and one that's written off far too much, is the evolution conspiracy. Have you thought of that?
Enlighten me. What's
Evolution.
the evolution conspiracy?
Well, what's the evolution theory?
The evolution theory is that a fish fucking after millions and millions of years crawled out of the fucking water and got legs and turned into a frog, and then that turned into this and that, and then that turned into that, and then all of a sudden it had hair, and then the evolution in a sense is a living organism energy that adapts to its environment in order to survive. Therefore, horns come on the back of a creature to protect itself from it. I mean, watch Planet Earth for a half hour. You see it at its finest. And then all of a sudden it's a monkey, and the monkey starts walking on two legs, and the monkey decides it has all of a sudden has emotions like love and fear and this and that, and then it learns to communicate. And now it has a brain, and now we're humans.
Right. Over millions of years.
I think that's a big fucking joke.
Millions of years. They always use millions of years.
I don't think that all that happened millions and millions of years ago.
Once
The Great
upon a
Flood,
time.
I do not believe it was millions of years ago.
Yep.
I believe it was maybe 5,000 years ago.
6,000, 5,000,
Yeah,
6,000,
5,000, 6,000 years ago, man. Because you go around the world, and what you see, if you scientifically look at it, it's simple. You don't have to be a fucking scientist or a geologist to understand this. If it happened, it would happen slowly. You look at some of the Grand Canyon. The way that it's almost a 90-degree angle, right at the edge.
Yeah,
that comes from water moving fast as fuck, not slowly throughout. You think, no, not slowly throughout time. We turned into this, and that's what they want us to think is all of that. I mean, that goes down to the conspiracy if dinosaurs were real or not. You know, I mean, it's a lot to think about.
I think once you accept evolution, that's when you start accepting
the trap.
The trap. And the evil and the conspiracies really start growing out of control at that point, honestly. I think that's where it all starts. Yeah, that's what I think.
John, I agree with what you were saying, but you have shit like the 7 deadly sins, right? You think about monks who go out in the fucking mountains and sit crisscross, and they put their fucking hands up and they meditate, right? And these guys live like 100 to the age of 120 and shit, right? Because they're in harmony. Now, my belief, personal belief, I don't think that we're a failed creation. I think we are a creation / of filtering. It's kind of like, okay, you look at my fish tank, right? There's a filter down there, a water filter. What it does, it's going to take in all the water that's dirty, and it's going to filter it through this filter that's created, right? That is this dimension, the third dimension, where the bad stays below, and the good gets to continue. Therefore, accessing, air quote, heaven, which is the water tank itself, where then the water that's clean now goes back into there. I believe the third dimension is a giant fucking filter for the universe, where souls are conditioned and filtered to advance. However, if something evil enough, strong enough, in this analogy of the fish tank, dirty enough, can make it happen, then it can advance too. And what we have to accept while we're diving in this fucking deep ass rabbit hole, what we have to accept here is that we don't know. We only know. We can't. There are so many things that we can't be educated on. The reasons we can't just look at the evidence in front of us, look at the Bible, look at everything that is optional to us, and make a decision and say that that's the way it is. Imagine trying to explain electricity to someone from 1500, the year 1500. Imagine trying to explain the internet to someone from the 1600s. Good fucking luck. Imagine trying to explain trigonometry to my 3-year-old.
They can understand it. Well, maybe not the 3-year-old, but I think people in the past. I think the people in the past
developed enough.
No, I think people in the past were just as smart, if not smarter.
I agree. You look at the ancient things put up with
ancient things and just hands down.
I agree.
I think we've been getting dumber and dumber.
What's
over
his
the
name?
years.
The fucking artist, not
But
not Dolly. What's his name? The Van Gogh.
Van Gogh, yeah.
The inventions that he made.
Not Van Gogh.
No, not Van Gogh. Hold on. Who was it?
Leonardo da Vinci.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Yes, not Van Gogh. Leonardo da Vinci.
Van Gogh cut his ear off.
That's right. Da Vinci, dude,
got
a
red hair like me.
fucking
He's a psycho.
genius. Da Vinci. Holy
Da
shit.
Vinci's smart. Definitely smart. Definitely smart.
Dude, some of the shit that he invented. You know, he invented a robot.
Yeah.
A lion robot, a mechanical robot that moved on its own. He gave it as a gift to like fucking the Chinese or something. Yeah. Fucking bizarre, dude.
Well, even way, way, way before him. I mean, you look at the pyramids. There's prehistoric
Right.
pyramids under the fucking ocean.
Right.
Like before history, and like we talk as if we fucking evolved and we were dumb as shit back then. It's like, get out of here.
Shut the
We
fuck
were not
up.
dumb as shit. You fucking idiots.
I agree, man.
That's the biggest fucking lie. And if we're talking conspiracies right now and who's running the government, who's trying to make us think a certain way, look at the textbooks. What's in the textbooks? Evolution is the biggest lie. That's what they want you to think. They want you to think you were stupid, now you're smart, now you're
Big Bang theory.
Yeah, listen to everything we
Big
say.
Bang happened. We evolved out of water.
Only what we say that's approved by the accredited scientists and the accredited this. Only what's approved by the scientific community
that are Freemasons and probably part of the Illuminati.
It's a complete lie. I think the biggest lie was when they accepted evolution. They put it in the textbooks. They love it. They fucking love it. It controls the world. Because that way, you're stupid if you don't believe in evolution. You have to listen to us. We are the authority. It created some fucking pseudo authority. It's ridiculous.
Right.
I think it all started in like when did that come out? Like 1890s, somewhere around
Darwin.
there.
Darwin was a Freemason.
Yeah, no, Darwin came out right.
He was a
Darwin did
Freemason.
his thing, and guess what? Shortly after Darwin, you got Karl Marx. Socialism, communism came out. Most deaths in the world. Hitler comes out. Boom.
Another Freemason.
Millions and millions and millions of deaths, all caused because certain races think they're more superior than others. And guess what? All the source comes from evolution.
Well said, John. I agree. Let me ask you this. Do you think that there is a chance? Because my takeaway from you is you're saying this is a failed creation, which means we're fucked no matter what, so just give up.
No,
right? But there's examples of humans who have achieved to avoid the poison of this world, who have somehow evolved their brain and their soul to not have the effects of the eaten apple, who can be in harmony, who can live to the age of fucking 120, who can wake up and go to sleep within a 24-hour time frame and not experience fear in 1 second of that day.
Yeah, Jesus.
Okay, then you say it's through Jesus, so it
Absolutely.
can happen. So that's my point. You and I are both believers of that. You don't have to be a believer of that.
We need an atheist on here to give us some conflicting views.
Austin, my co-host who I've had on here for almost every episode, he doesn't believe in any religion. He doesn't believe there's a God.
Yeah, he was supposed to be here today.
Right, he was supposed to be here tonight.
Next time.
And that's why I like having him on here. We have two opposite things.
We need a conflicting view.
Right, exactly. That way we can educate ourselves. So to others out there,
view, honestly.
Well, Jesus was the son
Debate
of a carpenter. The thing is I believe that it's kind of like okay, if everything is fucked, this creation is made, right? Evil comes in, though. Reptilians are in here feeding off our negative energy, keeping us controlled. The creator or whoever out there who's listening, you don't have to be a believer of John and I's faith to understand this conspiracy we're talking about.
Nope.
That's just what we choose to believe. Now, comes down and says, look, you're right. You're all fucked. This isn't the way it's supposed to be. If you don't want it to be fucked, I'm going to show you what you have to do to achieve it, and it's going to be fucking hard.
Yep.
And just like if you're a leader of a SEAL team, a management team, a sales team, whatever, a construction team, and your team is not doing it right, you have two options. You can lead with love, or you can lead with fear. I believe that our leader came down and was like, hey, yeah, you're all fucked. Things are bad. It's not your problem. Just like Jesus said in Matthew, I'm a chicken and you are my hens. I just want to gather you under my wing. He felt so sorry for us. Not pointing a finger at us, how dare you dumb humans. Felt bad for us because he knew we weren't to blame for it. Right? Those who wanted to be free in the inside, but weren't. Then there's those who allow the corruption to consume them. Now, he comes down and is giving us the ways. If leading with love doesn't work, which is not working because the power of evil is so strong, then leading with fear is going to be another way. So therefore, like I said today when we were at the Tinfoil Hat show, is sometimes you have to be the evil to compete with the evil. You know what I mean? So the way that you said that the fear of God is good, it should
Absolutely.
be the
It's
love
good.
for God that drives you. But I agree, since we are corrupted and consumed by evil and negative energy, therefore the fear has to be put in, because fear is
Love
what
is
makes
good.
us correct. But fear is what makes us pay our bills, pay our taxes, get up and play by the games of society.
You have the fear of government. In you.
Right. So
What
the
we need to
fear
have
of
is
God
the-
has to be there for
Yeah,
us
if we
to
wanna
be
defeat-
enlightened and to advance and break
Absolutely.
through this evil negative energy.
If we want to defeat evil, which is the end all be all with all the conspiracies out there for the most part, from what I've seen, sounds like it. That's how you explained it, right?
Yeah.
We need to have the fear of God. And I think having the fear of God includes, what it talks about. You need to be the salt of the earth. You need to not only preserve, but you need to flavor, and you need to irritate what's going on around you. Okay? Salt has many uses. And
Right.
if you're not using your good, if you're not acting as the salt of the earth, I don't think you're being loyal to good.
Interesting.
I really
Very
don't think
interesting.
So. You ever seen the movie Boondock Saints?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, of course you have. And most
Who
people
hasn't?
listening to this probably have too. It's a great
If
movie.
you haven't, get on it.
You got to watch it. Very first scene. He's talking about the murder of a
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has been a long time, but it's a great movie. You got to watch it. He's talking about the murder of someone who's an older lady in the community, and the old lady gets killed by a robber. He robs her, and everybody just stands there and watch. And the big lesson behind it is there's two types of evil that we need to be most afraid of. There's evil man, and there's the indifference of good man. And that's the greatest evil. That's the evil we should be most afraid of. And if you're not acting as a salt of the earth, and you're not adding flavor, and you're not preserving good, and you're not doing something to irritate the evil and fix it, then I think you're just part of the problem. It's really important not to be part of the problem. Being complacent is being part of the conspiracy.
Wow. The next thing I want to get to, we're going to take a quick break. The next thing I want to get to after the break is talking about how this energy is consumed in our physical spectrum of light. And that ties to which there's so much evidence out there. Anyone who denies it, I will fucking battle you to the fucking ground. The pedophile rings of this world, and how the energy of children is consumed. Evil stuff. Fucking insanity.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get to that after the break. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is episode 36. This is the PAC-X podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back with you after the break.
Well, hey there. What are you doing, mister? What are you doing there, mister?
We are back, ready to attack, put down the sack. We're live and we're kicking it. This is the Pack. Hey, this is the Pack X podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is episode 36. Check us out at packxpodcast.com. That's PACX podcast.com. Also, while you're at it, check us out on Facebook. Give us a like, give us a review, a thumbs up. Also, go to YouTube. We're there on YouTube as well. You can follow us along on YouTube. We have some playlists available to you to help you in your journey of enlightenment with all sorts of different playlists, in regards to conspiracies or spiritual advancement, or just kind of a lot of the silly, insane crap that we're talking about.
So many tubes.
A lot of tubes. But anyways, check us out on all the platforms. Honestly, we have a Twitter, but I don't check that shit. I think Twitter's just... We're not going to talk about Twitter. Fuck Twitter. I say that almost every episode. But we are going. It's episode 36. I'm your host, Lloyd, and we have...
John Nuefer.
John fucking Nuefer in the fucking house with us.
Hey.
We are so fucking excited to be here. Big shout out to the Tinfoil Hat podcast, who we saw live tonight.
It was live.
It was fucking great. I hope they're listening.
Definitely
God
live.
bless you, gentlemen, if you are. And to those of you who do not know that podcast, if you like what you're listening here, you're going to fucking love what they talk about. Oh, my God. So I encourage you to go check them out. Anyways, and then, of course, we're going to raise our glass right now to not only our fans, but to all those of you out there during this awakening and all you crazy, sad motherfuckers who are in the middle of waking up and making sure you have a good time while you do so.
Woo.
Because if you're stressed out about it, and you're pissed off, you're
Feeding
just
into it.
feeding into the negative energy. Anyways, where we left off was we were talking about negative energy being consumed and all that crap, and I dropped the big P word, penis. Just kidding. I dropped the F word. I'm just kidding. I was going to say pedophiles, but that's what I was talking about. Anyways,
Penis
the P
and
word.
pedophiles. Well, that's not going to help our sponsors, but it's okay.
Right. And we just lost all 3 followers.
That's all right.
No, really, fucking pedophiles, dude.
Yep.
What do you, John? Before you know me, dude. Just like what happened earlier,
Mhm.
I went off.
Mm-hmm.
And this I will too, because this one is the one that needs to be tackled at hand at the moment.
Yeah.
We can't go and arrest people who are lying to
Yeah.
us about the fucking pyramids or whatever.
Right.
But shit that
Yeah.
truly is fucked up, and that there's blatant fucking evidence out there. The reason why I believe Q is doing what they're doing is, and they admit this too, whoever the fuck Q is, Alex Jones this is the main thing he talks about, David Icke talks about, all of them, this is the source of it all, consuming the energy, pedophiles. John, what do you think? Let's start off with you. What do you got?
Well, we're talking about feeding into bad energy, and that's the end-all, be-all for these, these conspiracies of how to, controlling the world and, bringing us down.
Right.
And so, what I think about it, I think it's simple. I think it's the morals. They're wanting to bring down the morals. I think there's definitely pedophile rings going on. Child sex slavery has been around for a long time.
470-something people from the government arrested for a pedophile ring. This was talked about on the JRE, Joe Rogan Experience podcast.
Yep. It's been around for a long time. Sex trafficking in India is a very big thing. I just watched a documentary actually just this morning. It wasn't a documentary. It was like a 10-minute clip of like a BBC associate interviewing a guy who had been in charge of a female, well, it was just a child sex ring, and he's killed over 400 children from 12 and up. 400. And the reason why he kills them is because they don't get sold in the auctions for the child sex ring.
By the way, heads up, this is about to get touchy and sensitive because we can joke about a lot of the shit we've talked about here, but obviously you can't really joke about this kind of shit. But we're here to find the truth, so...
Yeah, we're here to find the truth.
Heads up.
And anyways, so we're talking about pedophiles. It's been around the Vatican, Penn State. I mean, like, why wasn't there a day of football taken away from the Penn State football team when there was a scandal of pedophilia going on, right?
Tell me about that. I'm not educated on. I've heard about it, but everything I know
Honestly,
is what
I don't
I've
know
heard
too-
through the scuttlebutt. I mean, is there proof or only
Yeah, the head
speculations
coach.
of
The head coach had been in sexual relations with ball boy type people, right? Type kids and
Jeez.
yeah. Well, you know what? I could be more educated on the subject myself, but what I'm trying to say is the big picture of pedophilia is definitely out there. It's a way of giving into evil in the world, and I think it all boils down to one thing again, is our moral standards. And I think there's a much bigger picture going on too, is, I respect the LGBTQ community all day long, man. You can be gay, you can be lesbian, you can do whatever you want, but when we start sexualizing kids, when we start...
when we draw a motherfucking line
draw
in
a
the
fucking
sand.
line in the sand, okay? You can't, you could all day do whatever you want as an adult, but when you start talking about hormone therapy for 9-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds, for God's sakes, or, not even hormone therapy. Let's just talk about the kids dressing up in the other style clothes, putting makeup on, lipstick, fake eyelashes. We're sexualizing the kids, and I think that's the big conspiracy. Let's forget about the Vatican shit. I mean, it's real. Vatican's totally real. All the pedophile rings and the sex
All
trafficking.
the
but
deaf
let's talk
kids
about
coming
the
out,
deaf kids. Let's
the
talk.
blind kids coming
but
out.
let's talk about the all-seeing eye and the fucking mocking tongue, and that shit's right in front of your face, and you're forced to accept child pedophilia, and what that is sexualizing the child. That's really what it is we sexualize the child, make it look as if it's an object, something we have to respect. Otherwise, we're called immoral. I'm immoral if I don't think that a child should be dressed up in the opposite sex and
They're forcing us
sexualized
to accept fucked up things that
Exactly.
were absolutely unacceptable just 10, 20, especially 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago.
Let's get it out in the air, for God's sakes. We're
putting it on the
let's get
fucking
it-
table right now.
Yeah,
We're
get
gonna
it out in
smash
the air.
shit
I mean,
out of it.
come on. Don't be dressing some kid up. It doesn't matter whether they're a boy or a female.
Let them
you know-
discover the raw dog nasty world we live in, and then let them figure out what the fuck they want to do.
Yep. But when we start putting makeup on the kids at a very young age, when makeup is irrelevant, makeup is put on to create a sexual attraction between the opposite sex, right? That's why it's there. It's to create
Or the same
sexual
sex.
attraction, right? Or same
Right.
sex, exactly. Whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. We're not discriminating against that. But when we start sexualizing children, I think that is the blatant conspiracy that nobody's talking about. It's driving me crazy. So
I think so too.
I think that's all. I think that's what we have to say. Definitely pedophile rings, but I think the biggest pedophile ring and the biggest insult to our morality is sexualizing children, and I think Hollywood has been doing a great job of that.
Wow. Okay, so you're already caught up. You're already awake on that shit. Then you're not
Mhm.
someone who's like, "Well, what's going on?" Who have to be like, "Ah," and fucking explain it. Certain celebrities who have thrown their careers in the fucking trash to pop the lid off this kind of shit are three of them actually. Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Macaul-
Great director, by the way. His movies are amazing.
Absolutely.
Holy
He's fucking
cow!
great.
You cannot deny his movies.
Absolutely.
All right.
I think my favorite one's Patriot.
Oh, Patriot's great. You know what Patriot.
Dude, I watched that on
Apocalypto.
cable the other
Holy
night when I was in a
shit.
hotel and I was up to like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
just fucking
I was
love that movie.
thinking about the Patriot the other day, but then Apocalypto is also amazing, and you know what?
Yeah.
Passion of Christ is pretty darn good too.
Passion of
So.
Christ is good. I like it. I
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And people bitched about it, saying, "Well, all it showed was the torching." I was like, "Well, you have to understand that was the purpose of it.
Yeah.
It wasn't to show all the great things that Jesus did, this and that. It was to show, what Jesus went through." Anyways, we're not gonna go off tangents here. Stay on track. The ones who've come out, who have fucking
So Mel
thrown their
Gibson?
career- Mel Gibson, Macaulay Culkin.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he called him out by name.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an article that he did that he talked about, and it got removed off the fucking internet when we were at the Tinfoil Hat podcast.
Yeah.
Tonight, the
Yeah.
show. What
Yeah.
did they say? Take
Sam-
fucking screenshots because shit gets removed.
Yeah. Sam
and
stood
I
up.
do that. I do that viciously. I take so many screenshots. If you go look at my screenshots on my phone right now, you're going to think I'm a fucking freak.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to think, because I take screenshots of very sensitive shit, because I have seen it before where I'm like, oh, wow, I'm going to talk about that on the podcast. And podcast night comes around, I go to the fucking website and it says this site has been blocked. Or our page is unavailable.
Well, think about it.
Fucking gone, dude.
Well, you know what? I don't understand exactly how this works, but I know that governments can block the type of internet that you're seeing. I know that if you're in China, you only see certain type of internet. If
80% of North Koreans don't even know the internet exists.
Exactly, North Korea, and then and you think that shit's not real in the United States? Think again.
Yeah, 100%, man. The other one I know is Shia LaBeouf, too. Has also been like,
what do you do?
Now, these three people have been like, okay, in Hollywood, there are fucking people who are molesting children. And it's not just that. That is an understatement. Yeah. That's being nice about it. Now, to talk about it, John, we're sitting here and we've obviously put this out on the table. You and I are both on the same page. Yeah. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, whether it be from the Vatican, coming out of Hollywood. We know those are the two kind of capitals of this pedophile ring. Before I talk about why, because personally, I'm attracted to women. People out there are attracted to men attracted to men, women attracted to men, women attracted to women, whatever. That's normal. That's the human state. That's 100% normal, and that's fine. But I am not attracted to children. No. So it's the reason why you people out there deny this, just because you wouldn't do it doesn't mean that others fucking wouldn't. You have to know that. You and I know that a fucking child is a child, and there's not one fucking cell in your body that would even think of anything, right? We know that. But just because you're that way doesn't mean other bodies, other humans don't operate that way. Yeah. Okay? Now the question is, why? Why? Right?
I think it's part of the big conspiracy.
I think it is too. I think it has to do with consuming energy. I believe that this comes from David Icke. This comes from Alex Jones. They've preached it for years. They have taken the ridicule, the mocking. They've said that specifically. Now you mentioned these people around the age of 12, with that example you talked about earlier. Yeah. But what David Icke and Alex Jones have talked about is it is preferably who they want, who they're targeting are kids who have not hit puberty yet. Right. The reason why is because their energy is so much more. Whatever, fill in the blank. I don't know the right vocabulary to use for this.
You ever talk to an 11 or 12-year-old and really listen to their opinions? You ever hear how spirited an 11 or 12-year-old is?
So fucking passionate,
dude. They will call anybody out at any time, and it all boils down to kind of what the parents' beliefs are, right? Because
of course,
that's the reflection. It's a reflection
of the
environment
that they were developed in.
Exactly. But they are passionate.
There's only three kinds of people who tell the truth.
11 and 12-year-olds.
right. No,
but
what it
seriously
is
though, they'll fucking call you out, and it's pretty scary.
There's only
three. I'm so sorry for interrupting one more time.
No.
I got a story when I was in they'll call somebody out on Thanksgiving or Christmas. You've been acting this way, mom or dad, or cousin or uncle or whatever.
My child has called me and my wife out.
Yeah, and it's like, shut the fuck up, dude. You're not supposed to say that at a dinner.
They're just speaking the truth.
But they're just speaking the truth most of the time.
The truth.
They're still innocent, but they're at that point where they realize, okay, I know what's right and wrong, and I'm gonna say it.
Right. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And what I was gonna say was that there's only three kinds of people in this world that tell the truth. Sorry, I gotta refresh the computer so it doesn't close down. Those three kinds of people who tell the truth are drunk people.
They try to tell the truth.
Angry people.
Yep.
And children.
Yeah.
That's it. And I'm going to add a fourth one.
What about
the fourth one is drunk podcasters. Cheers
to that.
Speaking of, I always introduce to the fans what it is we're drinking. And we're drinking Silver City Brewery Superfly India Pale Ale out of here. The Great Pacific Northwest. Silver City Brewing is from Silverdale, Washington. So, and John's on a Corona.
You know what? I was drinking Silver City, but I ran out, unfortunately. So now I'm drinking a Corona Extra.
So I'm going to ask you fans out there who do have a beer in your hand, put it up. We're going to cheers you right now.
What are you drinking?
Yeah, send us a message. Hit us up. Let
Tell
us
us
know
what you're drinking.
Obviously, if you're driving, keep your fucking hands on the steering wheel and pay attention and turn this fucking podcast up a little bit more.
Cheers to that. Thank you, my friend. Did you know Corona is actually a German beer?
Not Mexican? Not Mexicano?
German settlement.
Mexicano cerveza?
German settlement in Mexico.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Anyways, to do a fucking curveball there from German settling beer to pedophiles.
Well, we need to stop and tell everybody what's going on.
So, anyways, what I want to get down to is the fucking why behind it, and you and I seem like we're already on the same page, which is fucking
why
right
red pill, why blue pill, and what is the ultimate goal? What's the end game of these conspiracies?
The why, excellent. The why blue pill? Oh, people are just sexually different, right?
Yeah.
Did you hear there? I remember seeing a stupid article. It was probably typed by fucking who knows who. Dude, the last person I trust on this planet is a fucking journalist. In today's world, but
Breitbart.
They were talking about how they should be forgiven, like it should be accepted, just like how a person might be confused if they're a man or a woman. So we accept that in society. Well, a person is going to be confused if they could fuck a child or not. They should be accepted in society.
You don't know the pedophilia. There's accepting. There's acceptance of pedophilias. I understand. There's acceptance of people, but you got to draw a line. Dress how you want. Have sex with who you want. As long as it's not a fucking child, dear God, draw a line, my friends.
Honestly,
we're in the Pacific Northwest. We really are. I mean, this is that podcast, but I mean, this is the crowd we're talking to most of the time. Is you need to be all accepting, and that you should be all accepting.
It should be 100%.
But you have to draw a line. You have to figure out where does your morality start. And
Kids
where does
are off
it
limits.
end.
Period. Kids are off fucking limits when it comes to the sexual thing, when it comes to being a pedophile, when it comes to, honestly, I think the same thing with brainwashing, to be prideful of your country and go to war for. Dude, I was jacked to go die for my country at the age of 6 years old. I remember it vividly. I was obsessed with the military. I joined 6 days after high school. That shouldn't have happened. That should have been an option to me, maybe 12, thinking about it, 16, now it's time to really think about it. 18, time to make a decision. You know what I mean? Not 6 years old. I want to go bang bang, shoot him up, and die for the country.
But army men are so sick.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, that's different from
army men. I mean, come on. You got the chick dolls, right? I mean, what are we gonna play with? We got army men. Come on, right.
But
BB guns.
Anyways, I was saying the blue pill why. The blue pill why is people are just different. There's freaks out there. Okay, I can accept that.
Yep.
The person on the news who was caught, who was checking out whoever, or who actually, kidnapped a kid and did sexual things with them, and he was just some fucking creepo in a shack, and he was getting high off drugs.
Yep.
I accept
Evil.
that. I accept that.
Evil man exists.
But 400 people in the government arrested for it? That is not the blue fucking pill why.
Yeah.
Okay? That's the red pill why. And the red pill why? They're consuming fucking energy from these kids. Alex Jones talks about it on the JRE Experience. He talked about it on the first big podcast, the episode. This is the most listened to and watched episode in the history of podcasting. Joe Rogan on Alex Jones on the Joe Rogan podcast, JRE. This was like 3, 4, maybe even more years ago. Eddie Bravo was on there. We met him tonight. It was awesome.
We did meet him tonight.
Eddie Bravo was on that episode. They just had the number 2 episode of this. And Alex Jones is I'm just going to use the words Alex Jones was using, because that's words that we can relate to and that we can understand with this. He's calling this the Dracula.
The Dracula?
The Dracula.
It's sucking your blood?
Right.
Blood sucking.
Macaulay Culkin said word for word.
What'd he say?
That there are evil people eating children
I believe it.
Consume energy
for
power and eternal life after death.
What do all the aborted fetuses go?
Bingo! Now, to tie back to that, John,
Where
that's
do they all
exactly.
go?
Now we can open that conversation
You know how
up.
many aborted fetuses there are every year? It's insane.
I took off my my organ donor. I removed it.
I got a story.
Removed that.
I have a story to tell you about that.
You have a story to tell too, because I have a story to tell. I'm not going to mention.
Tell me your story first.
There is someone I know who passed away in a hospital. It was very sad. They were young. They were around our age. Very, very, very sad. They were an organ donor. dude, seconds after this person died, there
Yep.
was someone with paperwork in her husband's face asking to sign to release the organs. Seconds after, right? When he told them, I don't want to fucking talk to you right now,
Yeah.
I'm dealing with this, he got a phone call
Yep.
for it, asking about it.
Yep.
If you want to send it out. He yells at them and hangs up.
Mm-hmm.
2 minutes later, another fucking phone call.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, but if the efforts put into saving this person's life were at the equivalence of you trying to obtain these fucking organs, maybe that person might be fucking living.
Right.
And if this person who I'm talking about is listening to this podcast, God bless you. I'm so sorry to bring this up, but
Yep.
this shit's important and we're after the truth to wake people up and to save other people. That is crazy, dude. And this person just passed away, right?
Yep.
Perhaps, maybe if this person was not an organ donor, they would live. I've heard of conspiracies of
Absolutely.
quotas
Oh, you know
in
those
hospitals for organs
Yeah.
to be donated.
Well, there are people asking for them.
Asking for that's fucking
There's
crazy.
a market. And
A
you know what?
market.
On top of that market, someone's got to have the surgery. You got to pay
Is
for
there-
that organ.
You know, I remember
that organ's getting paid for by the insurance companies.
I remember asking my mother when I was a kid, Mom, what's that heart on your license? She goes, I'm an organ donor. What is that? She explained it to me. I was like, oh, I'm going to be an organ donor.
Yeah.
That sounds
That's a
great.
good idea, right?
If I can help someone else after I've passed away, you
Yeah.
fucking bet. Right? Sounds great.
Yeah.
How many fucking
Not.
people out there are actually saved by being given an organ from someone that was an organ donor?
I
How
don't
many
know.
stories do you hear about that?
I
I've
don't
heard
know.
of, okay, I see people driving on with cars
go on
that
ice.
say
They put 'em on ice.
kidneys are needed. Call this number if you're willing to donate a kidney. There's people who are dying being all over with great medical insurance because they're in need of organs.
Right.
So if almost every fucking person I know is an organ donor,
Right.
why isn't it being utilized?
Who are you saving
This
anyways?
isn't a fucking conspiracy. This is blatant and the truth right in front of you. And
Yep.
obviously, you and
Yep.
I again are both on the same page.
Yep. Who are you saving?
Holy fuck! What's your story?
Well, like, I think you should give blood. I think blood is important.
Interesting.
I don't
Yeah,
know. Well, I don't
think
know
so
what you
too.
think about it,
Well,
Lloyd.
there's been people who
I
have
think
been
you
saved
should.
by that. There
Well,
are
absolutely.
stories to
well,
testify
when
that
there's
that is
a
effective.
freaking war or whatever it is, like
Pearl
the
Harbor, dude.
blood
Over
transfusions
200
are
people were
important.
saved by blood transfusions.
I don't know exactly. Dialysis, blood comes out, blood goes in, right? People actually need blood. I don't know exactly how dialysis works. I'm not I don't know, but I do know people need blood when they're dying. But where do the organs even go? It'd be neat to track. Where do all the organs go? If you are
I'll
a
sign it
donor,
over. I want to know every
Yeah.
fucking step of it.
yeah,
where it
if you're a
goes.
donor, shouldn't your family know where your organs go? Wouldn't that be neat to know where did my husband, where did my child's organs go over the last few weeks or months or however many days it takes to?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be neat? Be really neat. Anyways, I do have a story. I can tell you about it. It's pretty neat. I work out at an organization that I don't want to name just because we're on the air.
Right.
I work out at a gym. It's so
John's
funny.
address is 532.
Yakima Drive. No, I'm just kidding. We are in Washington though. So, but anyways, I work out and there's this really big dude, right? Big, strong dude. He shaves his. I work out in the morning, so people are always getting ready in the morning, shaving, doing what they need to do, taking showers. This guy shaves his head every day, big, strong dude. He's got a beard, like one of those dudes you see walk into a biker bar, 6'3", like you don't fuck with him kind of guy, right? And he's got his kid with him, we start building a relationship because we see each other every day. It's like, okay, we're both committed to going to the gym, right? So,
Right.
anyways, just one of those guys. So we start building a relationship. So, anyways, we're in the locker room one day, and we get talking, and he tells me what he does. So I ask him what he does, and he tells me, and it's so crazy, dude. So this guy picks up dead bodies from crime scenes and or suicides or any kind of death you can imagine.
Interesting. You've mentioned this
Yeah. Did I mention
to
to
me
you?
before when we were not on a podcast.
Yeah.
Please go on.
Oh, it's nuts. It's totally nuts. So this is a guy's job. So say you have a bad day or whatever. I'm not telling you should do this, but you go to the top of a parking garage and you jump off and you kill yourself. crime scene investor gets there.
God bless you if you're feeling that way. If you ever feel that way, please fucking call us.
Don't do that.
Hit us up. Call someone. Love
Don't
you
kill
all.
yourself.
Fuck that. Life is beautiful.
Yeah.
You can go on.
Absolutely.
Anyways,
Thank
sorry
you.
for the interruption. Go on.
Love yourself. Definitely love yourself. Don't do that. But this is this guy's job. So, all right. Well,
Right.
let's just use a different example, just for the sake of being
Someone,
nice to everybody.
someone gets shot. Boom.
Boom.
Fucking,
Boom.
someone got pissed off.
Investigators
Boom.
go there, investigate the crime scene. Crime scene's done. This guy's job is to pick that body up and take it to the morgue. It doesn't matter what kind of death it is, whether it's suicide or death by fat or death by just falling asleep, death by murder. He is the one who takes that body from the crime scene or from the wherever the dead body is to the morgue. All right. Now, one of this guy's responsibility is to pick up organ donors' bodies.
Okay, go
Yes,
on.
I am going on.
Right
So
now, ears are getting closer to the speaker
organ,
system.
organ donors' bodies. So now, I asked the guy. I said, "Okay, what's the worst thing? The worst thing that you've ever seen, or what's
You asked
what
him
are the
that?
worst bodies?" I
Damn,
did. Well, of
okay.
course,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
got a
yeah.
good we
Okay,
see each
okay.
other every single day, right?
Right,
so
right.
this might have been a conversation that was building up for a few weeks, right? So, and as I asked him, okay, so what's the worst thing, right? Because he's a very nice guy. He's uplifting. He's happy. He doesn't care.
Right.
He's been doing this since he was 17, by the way.
Holy
he got
shit.
hired.
As a 17-year-old, he was doing
The
that?
dude's got to be like 40 years old.
You also got to be mentally
I
a
am
fucking
telling you.
brick,
No,
too.
he's a badass. But he
Okay.
said one day some dude hired me and I just, that was the job, and it's like I just did it and I'm still doing it today. That's how it goes, right?
Right,
You get
right.
hired and you just keep working. Anyways, I asked him, what's the worst thing? And he said, when I go to the hospitals and get a organ donor's body, he says it's an empty bag. An empty bag. You look at it and it's a flesh that has been stitched back together and there's nothing in it. Absolutely nothing. So when he picks up the body, it's just like a leather sack. It's a bag.
Holy shit.
And he says of all the things that I've seen, he said the worst people are the really people who get really fat and die in their 5th floor apartment and there's no, he said those are the worst ones because he's got to hike them down the stairs or wherever it is, right? And
Right.
they weigh hundreds of pounds. But he says the most traumatic experiences are the ones when he has to pick up a donor body because there is no body. And he says,
Whoa.
and talk
I
about
thought it was organs, not the entire fucking body.
Oh,
I'm
it's
thinking
the-
like liver and
the
lungs.
skull, the brain, everything inside of the body is theirs. And he said, when we're talking about somebody who's seen every single type of scene, death, and he says the most
That's
traumatic
the
one
worst?
is a donor body, you got to think to yourself, okay, what's going on here? Why is that the most traumatic thing? Because it's traumatizing. There's nothing left of that person. And we don't know that. We think organ donor, we're like, okay, my heart's going to get given to the person if I die in a wreck.
Right.
No, they're going to salvage every single piece of your body. We don't know where that's going. It's great. Save other people, of course. Organ donating, it's a good thing. Some people that are listening to this podcast may have been saved, or the mother or the father or whoever may have been saved by an organ donor. But at the same time, remember, it's not just one part of you. It's every part of you inside that skin bag of yours that's what they think of you. So anyways.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, it's nuts. So anyways, I thought it was pretty interesting to hear that was his most traumatic experience.
Yeah,
You would think it would be like child suicide or something like really gnarly or like that.
Right.
But no, he doesn't. No, he said
Overdoses.
organ
with-
donors
yeah,
are the
yeah.
worst ones.
Fuck,
Because
dude.
he's taking this body to, he didn't tell me exactly why other than the fact that it's just a stitched up bag.
That's
So,
fucking
anyways.
nuts, dude. I don't even know how to
Just
respond
remember
to
that. Your finger bones, your elbows, your tricep, your bicep.
See, without even
every
knowing
part
that,
of you.
I'd removed
Gone.
my organ donor. I removed it
Yeah.
because you know what? It's almost like it's think about like if you go to a fucking car lot and you're gonna get qualified to buy a car, and it's like the credit, like if you have X amount of loans available, then you're gonna be accepted more likely versus someone who doesn't have X amount of loans. I feel, and based off what we talk about, I can put a stamp on it. My own personal belief and say that this is true is that if I'm in a hospital and I'm on a near death and I might die or I might be saved, if I have that fucking heart on my ID, I'm more likely to not be fucking saved.
You're probably right. Why do they harvest every bone in your body? And
where does all that fucking go?
And
shouldn't more people be saved too if we
Well,
apparently
yeah, well-
have like enough
well-
to fucking
it makes sense. If you're dead, use the body. What are you going to do? Burn it, right? You're going to burn the body. The body doesn't matter. It's a soul, right? But here's the big issue is like, okay, are they profiting? What's happening to these body parts? Are the hospitals or whoever's in charge of this donor process, are they profiting from...
I don't even think it's that, dude. Because like, again, to tie back to what we heard of the Tinfoil Hat podcast today, they said, look, it's lazy to say that everything's a conspiracy, that it's all bad people, that it's all fake, right?
Yep.
Because there is good people out there. If good people
Yep.
weren't out there, then what do you say? That wouldn't exist. He said, fucking, help me out here. He said that there wouldn't be trials, there wouldn't be blackmailing, there wouldn't be all this nasty game of basically Game of Thrones going on in Congress if there weren't good people out there. And I couldn't agree more. Now, as John
I said
and I are
Trey
here-
Gotti.
Right, yeah, Trey Gowdy. Yeah. Right, as a good person. There wouldn't be, as John and I are telling you this stuff, it's not that the owners of the hospital, or the high-ranking doctors or the admin officials are sitting here in a fucking dark dungeon holding their hands all evil-like, getting paid off of giving organs. That's not what we're saying. That very well could be true. But the point is that that is how all this evil that is hard to accept and swallow is happening in this world. It's not that, it's that the world is full of evil people. The world is full of good people who are sinful and who are not enlightened, therefore they sin without knowing it, or they sin in a way that they can't be blamed. And I'm using the word sin as also, if you're not religious, then just take that word sin and replace it with bad deeds.
Doesn't matter, it doesn't matter if you're a believer or not. You know what sin is.
Means.
You know what immorality
you can agree
is.
with sinning is
Are
bad,
you a
right?
liar? Are you an adulterer? What
Right,
are you
exactly.
So what are you doing that's wrong?
And so it's not that everyone's in on it and being fucking evil about it. It's that we are programmed in so many individual situations where we think we're doing good, but we're doing bad.
Yep.
When something that is good for us, like we were talking about this earlier, John, before the podcast, a smartphone. That's great, dude.
Yeah.
At
The tool.
It's a within seconds
Sorry.
from the within seconds navigating from your fingers, you can ask this little pocket oracle any question you want. Personally, I'd say fuck Google now. I don't trust it. I have a Google Home in here listening to everything we're fucking saying. But my point is people
look
say
something
Google
up.
Google it.
Well, yeah, Google
doesn't
it.
mean shit
Yeah,
anymore.
you Google that shit and it sends you to a fucking blog that some fucker wrote. Oh,
Right.
this is the answer, and this is the most popular. Yeah, fuck
no,
off
no,
with
no,
that
no,
shit.
no, no,
Anybody
no. That
can get
doesn't
the
mean-
right answer on Google
to
through
say
a
I
fucking.
Googled it is bullshit. I mean, you can get an idea and opinion. I go off of volume for
You
over
don't
how many
Google
times
it,
I
you
hear
look it up.
Exactly, research. Anyways, without going on a tangent, the point is to go back to this analogy of if everyone's in on it, or if there's just a small group of criminal people, of evil people with too much power. My belief is that's what's going on. Smartphones are not bad for us, but they're good, right? They can be good. It's wonderful. Think about it. Communications instantly. Being able to take a picture of a moment and share it with people. Being able to talk with someone who's far away, who you haven't talked to in forever. Being able to call 911 right away. Being able to look something up important. GPS, navigation, all that. It's great. But it is creating addiction in people's brains where it's they check that first thing in the morning before saying hi or good morning to their significant other. Right? Dopamine is released in the fucking body when you get a like or when you get something on your phone. People check their phone ridiculously. We're addicted to it. Software engineers and developers who use the same tactics used in Vegas for gambling addictions are the same people who created the software that operates our fucking smartphones. Now, is the smartphone, do you look at the smartphone and say, that's an evil device? No, it's not. But it can be used for evil, and it starts out by telling us it's good, it's used for X, Y, and Z, but it's also going to be used to be evil.
Yep.
Same thing with donating your fucking organs. Yes, this is good, but it's actually switched to be evil.
Yep.
And so these people who are in charge of the hospital, like you're saying, hospitals making profit from it, I don't think it's going to be profit. I think it's just a demand. I believe that whoever's in charge of the hospital receives a letter saying, we have only received X amount of organ donations from you this month. You need to raise your quota to 70 instead of 50, which you hit last month, due to these reasons, to support X, Y, and Z. And of course, the good-hearted person who's in that state of power goes, oh shit, we need more organs. And what's that person's job? To save people, right? Or whatever, or run an organization.
Their conflict
that is
of
designed
interest.
Right, and so they're like, okay, yeah, we need more organs. But little do they know, you're just being told that, but in reality, they need that shit to feed off the fucking energy for the evil entities so they can do whatever the fuck it is they're trying to do.
I think for any conspiracy, you need evidence. And I think just because there's a correlation, right? Right? We all see this in right basic economics class. Just because there's a correlation doesn't mean there's a cause and effect relationship. But at the same time, I think Lloyd has a very valid point. I think the big thing here is I think pretty much every creation, every invention in the world, almost every invention, other than medieval inventions, are created
with good intention.
With good intention. But I think just as I mentioned earlier in this podcast at the very beginning, I think we're in a fallen world. I really do. I think we're in a fallen world.
I say hijacked.
I think we're in a fallen world, whether you can call it hijacked or not, but I think we are in a world that has fallen.
With good intention at the beginning.
With good intention, for sure.
At
I
the
really
beginning.
do. Yeah, because we thought we were doing something good. And I think Adam thought he was doing something good, too, to eat the apple even after Eve. But let's get beyond that. But I think most inventions are done with good intention, and it's inevitable that those inventions are used for evil. Evil.
Yeah, you said evil. Evil.
Well, it's true. I think that most inventions are made for evil. So what I'm saying here, though, guys, is whether you're a guy or a girl or a Z or a B, or I don't know.
Don't say guys. Say people.
I'm already offended. I offended myself. So either way, I think the big awakening, guys, is not the awakening on certain conspiracies with certain facts and certain this and certain that. I think the big awakening is understanding that what you are doing may be evil.
Boom. Well said, John.
You may not know it, but the actions that you are taking right now, wake the fuck up. You might just be doing the wrong thing.
But bless your heart because you're trying to do the right thing. And that is the beauty of a conspiracy, is because majority of people are good. They really are.
We want to do good.
We're convinced that people are not, that it's an evil world, very evil world. No. Just like Adam intentionally being good, right? Majority of people are good, but you've been programmed. You've been brainwashed. You've been guided. You've been leaded to do evil things, thinking that you're doing the right thing.
And we're in a time in this world right now where they're twisting and contorting and shifting that the moral stance that you are immoral if you don't think a certain way. And they're pushing and pushing and pushing, and there is a pushback, and that's why Lloyd and I are on the air right now.
Doing what the fuck we're doing.
Because guess what? There are things that you can say I'm immoral because I don't agree with a certain stance on whatever it is, but I'm telling
you and I support guns, therefore we support gun murders.
Therefore. It's the therefores.
Like
it's the therefores that keep getting pushed and pushed and pushed, and we're fucking tired of it. Because guess what? There's a fucking line, and we need to draw the line, and we really need to start understanding where morality. Oh, did you hear that?
Yeah, that was Someone just knocked
A
on the
real fast ninja just driving by. Yeah, it's true though. But there's a line that needs to be drawn, and you guys, we talked about this in the middle of the podcast and the starting. You know, where are these conspiracies going? What's the end all be all? And the end all be all is evil, okay? What do we want? Good versus evil. You know, and I'll say it like that because, you know, it is. It's good versus evil. Lloyd says evil energy. It's dark energy, thing that we're trying to pull from the good side, make it evil, make it bad, right?
Right.
So you need to understand the difference. We're trying, you know, the big joke and the big conspiracy is what's happening right before our eyes.
Right.
It's the conditioning. They're trying to condition us to think a certain way. And that, you know.
Right. And that conditioning, John, what they're doing is they are turning us against ourselves. The thing is the bad guys is a small group of people with too much power, but they have convinced us that it is us. Because we look at each other, right? And right now, you and I can agree, most listeners can agree right now, that this country is divided into two, possibly 3 or 4, right?
Yeah.
This country is, let's admit it, socially and politically, we are at each other's throats, dude. I go on Facebook and it makes me tear up because I see my family and my friends arguing viciously over fucking
it's morality
ideas because I'm pro-Trump, I'm not for Trump. I'm pro-guns, I'm not. I think this about the wall, but I don't. You know, fuck all that.
Because they're confused. They don't know what is your moral code.
Right.
What is it?
The bad guys are convincing us that we are the bad people, that humans are the source, are the problem for this. And you know what? To fucking open this can of worms, vaccinations, okay? The flu shot, shit like that. My thought behind that, first of all, I believe that if humans are natural to this planet, right, there shouldn't have to be vaccinations.
Ooh.
Because we're natural
like survival
beings,
of the fittest.
Survival of the fittest. We're natural beings.
Strong
that are part of
survive.
This, right? If the rule of thumb is everyone has to get it for it to work, that's fucking stupid then. That means probably shouldn't do it. At the same time, too, I can 100% agree with the argument of should be vaccinated. Now, that's not what I want to talk about, is if you should vaccinate yourself or not, or your kids or not. What I want to talk about
miracles of
is
modern
how
science.
Our people right now are at each other's throats about it.
Yep.
Why are we not blaming the upper source? Why are we not doing the research and the effort to find out why we have to have them in the fucking first place? What was it? There's the story about Balto, the dog that took
Balto.
the vaccine. Yeah, right.
Balto's
you know what I mean?
deal.
Okay.
Solve
That's
problems.
all motivating, makes sense, blah, 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 blah. The point is, dude, is that in conversation between people and on social media, I see people at each other's fucking throats about the opinion of vaccinating yourself or not. Now,
Big
those
issue.
who are listening right now probably want to talk about, you're probably yelling at the fucking speaker system that you're listening to this through, whether you think it shouldn't happen or it should happen. Stop right there. That's the conspiracy itself, is they want us divided. The last thing the deep state and the evil want is a united and enlightened group of people in this world. And the last thing, their biggest fear is for us not to fear, is for an enlightened, loving, united people of this planet. That's the last fucking thing they want.
I think they're afraid of the people who know good from evil.
Right. Yes, that's true.
Good
That-
from
that
bad.
too. Therefore, they want us at each other's throats about vaccination. They want us at each other's throats about racism. They want us at each other's throats about gun control. They want us arguing over
We know
over
what's right and
policies
wrong.
and politics. Listen, we're blaming each other. You know what I hear? Okay, what's that song? God is great, beer is good, and people are crazy, right? That country song.
People are crazy.
People are crazy.
Yep.
Okay, I think about that a lot. People aren't crazy. They're brainwashed. People are not fucking evil.
Right.
You know what? There's tons of people out there who I disagree with in so many policies and the arguments that are going on in the world right now. But fucking wake up and pay attention. As soon as this evil fucking thing began, okay? We look back to the 1940s after the H-bomb, after World War II, after Hitler, right? And then basically, if you're playing some fucking video game like World of Empires or whatever, I personally like to play the Total War series. What is it that you do before you attack another nation and take it over in the game? You build your armies first. You don't just dive in with your army that's halfway built when your civilization is a quarter into the way of achieving food, you make sure you're set on food. You make sure you have your armies built. You make sure you surround the enemy army, the enemy territory, and then you advance and attack. That's what the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s were about. 2000, it began. Boom. George Bush Jr., okay, is president. 2001, 9/11, boom, we invade Iraq, where most of the secrets of humanity were held. They went into the museums, where a lot of the artifacts containing stuff about Anunnaki and shit like that, where they are literally destroyed. There are U.S. soldiers who are conspiracy theorists today with great podcasts. They're very well known.
Yeah.
Who are straight up were like, no, I'm doing this now, and I'm a truth seeker because when I was in the military, I thought I was serving my country, but I was told to destroy ancient artifacts. Thought you were looking for fucking weapons of mass destruction,
Right.
not safe artifacts, or
Right.
not ancient artifacts. The point I'm getting at is that you have George Bush, Hillary Clinton, Obama.
Clinton's bad.
Fuck.
All the Clintons
Evil,
are bad.
dude. Don't get me wrong. President Obama's cool in the sense of I think he's one of the coolest.
You know what? I think-
he jokes around.
Frankly, I don't
he's
think
a G,
I
but
think
I
Bo-
think they're all fucking evil.
I
Dude.
don't think Obama knew shit other than the fact that I think he wanted a socialist and communist country.
Well, he was the
And you know
first
what?
African
I'll
American
get
president.
shit from-
He had to play an important role.
I'll get shit
and I
from
think he did
Eddie
good at it for
Bravo.
his fucking role.
I'll get shit from Eddie, and I'll get shit from Sam, just because. Yeah, no. If you think communist is the only reason, you know what? Seriously, communism and socialism is a fucking problem. Okay, it is. If you want freedom, if you want to be awake, it's called individual liberty. Okay, individual liberty.
Said, John.
Dear Lord, understand that. The collective is not more important than the individual. It really isn't. You need to have individual liberty. Okay? That's what this country was founded upon. That's why we literally, you know what? I'm not even going to get on the rant of why
Here he goes.
of why America is the greatest country on earth, but it
That's that
is.
twinkle in your eye.
Why do people move from every other fucking country to get here? Okay? Why?
The illusion
Because we're
of
the
freedom.
freest country on earth. Period. You cannot debate the fact that America is the freest country on earth.
Yes.
But we're slowly, actually, rapidly turning into a country just like all the others. And when that day happens, you will see the New World Order. You will see the conspiracies fall into place. The puzzle pieces will be put together, and evil will be the dominating factor, and will own the world. So,
And as in an
That's all I gotta
analogy
say.
to compare that, John, and what you're saying is this country is the freest country in the world. There
Hands
are
down.
people listening right now who are saying no because of how brainwashed and controlled we are. Now, here's the thing: I agree with you, but in an analogy,
hands down
too.
country.
I'm one of the most patriotic
down.
motherfuckers you'll ever meet.
Talk to people outside of the country; they'll tell you
Right,
it's
where
hands
you
down
get
the freest
shot
country. But you
for
talk to people
speaking your-
here.
your
you
idea.
You talked about people here. I'm so sorry for talking over you.
Keep going. I love it.
You talk to people here, and they think that we are the worst country on earth. We are not. Well, we may be. I don't even know if they'd agree with me on whether or not we're the freest or not. They think we're bad, and they want to turn like
You're
everybody
not bad,
else.
People,
You want to be a sheep.
The person
You wanna
the
be a
person who-
sheep.
I don't blame you, fucking idiots out there that are pro Clinton. I don't blame you, idiots out there who are fucking racist, truly in your heart. I don't blame you, idiots out there that want guns to be removed as a right to the citizens of America, because you've been convinced, as I've been convinced on things that I'm sure I yet to discover that I'm wrong about, that people and that us are the core problem of that. In an analogy to compare, John, with what you're saying about this country being free, just like this third dimension that we live in, where freedom is there, you're born, you have the choice to accept to be a good or to be bad, right? For how much, when freedom exists, for how much good is allowed, the equivalent of evil is allowed to play their part too. So since we are as free as we are in this country, right? We are the most free country in the world. That also allows for politicians and policies and corrupt to create
Absolutely.
things extremely evil, thus
Absolutely.
taking freedom away.
Absolutely, and that's why we're the greatest country on earth.
because of the evil that exists within this
Because
country.
we
We're
allow
the freest country on the earth, but we're also the most fucking evil.
you allow yourself to have evil fucking thoughts. You're
Right.
allowed to have that, okay? If you go to another country, you're not allowed to have those thoughts. You're not allowed to have certain expressions. You're not allowed
If you
to.
want to diss the person who's in charge of the country, you'll be fucking shot.
Who defines evil in a fucking country? That's the big, that's a big fucking issue.
Right. That's true.
Yeah, well, you go to most of the socialist countries, you know what they're teaching? Evolution, and that's where we started this conversation.
That is where we started this
and
conversation.
I'm telling you, you start with evolution. You eliminate morality, and you start saying the government has the ability to determine morality,
and that they have the answers.
and that they have the answer. And that's when we start talking about, okay, now we have some fucking issues. If government determines morality, that's when you know you're fucked.
Right. 100%, man. 100%. I could not agree more. You know, the,
Sorry for the cussing.
no, oh, dude, this is the
Bleep
Pack X
that out.
Pod. This is the Pack X Pod. You fucking have at it. I mark everything explicit. On iTunes, we're explicit on every episode.
All right.
So have at it, sir. We're talking about fucking pedophilia
Yarr.
above. I mean, come on. We can drop some curse words.
languagey.
Yeah. Well, fuck. You know, I think you just kind of put a nail in the coffin there, John. My brain was racing with all sorts of other points I wanted to get to, but the ultimately, you're not bad. The person you're against is not bad.
What is the awakening?
You know what I was gonna say was I remember seeing listen. I used to be a big CNN fan.
Yeah.
I was also in the military, and that shit is on in the chow hall on all 20 TVs in the
CNN.
chow hall.
Really?
It's CNN 24/7 and only CNN.
That's a surprise to me, CNN.
Right. I wonder what it's like now with CNN being known to be such a fucking one-way, fucking not, it's not, I wonder if that's still in there now. I'm sure there's people, educated service members who are like, turn this shit off, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Especially how it just bashes Trump and all of them salute to the man.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that's still on. But my point was, I used to be a big fan.
Mm-hmm.
I used to watch it religiously, dude. I
Yeah.
used to be very political until I realized that, well, shit, being political's and it makes you angry and it makes you care, and that's the whole problem. I still am. I watched all 8 hours of the help me out. The what hearing? Come on. He's got the fucking New York accent. Fucking come on. The hearing that just happened. 8 hours long. I can't remember his fucking name. He's going to prison for 3 years. Someone is screaming into their stereo system right now, being like, "It's there, you fucking retards!" Oh my gosh, hold on. No, I know. I'm sorry. We're taking a fucking pause here because I am having a fucking brain fart. What is his name? Holy shit, I can't remember. Come on. Hold on a second, dude. Ah, shit. Let me just type in fucking hearing on YouTube, and I'm sure it's gonna pop up.
Trump's former attorney hearing.
Yes, his lawyer.
Yeah.
What's his name?
I should know, but I'm a dummy.
Dude, let me just type in Trump's
Attorney.
lawyer. Michael Cohen. Thank you. Anyways, I had a big brain fart. I watched
The
all 8 hours.
longest brain fart.
Right. I watched all 8 hours of the Michael Cohen hearing. So I still pay attention to that shit.
Yeah.
And I've been asked before because when I preached to someone here who's been on an episode before about the fake news, this and that, and I was with them and I was listening to NPR. I was listening to the news, and they go, "Everything you just said. Why are you listening to the news?" And I was like, "Well, wouldn't you spy on the enemy?"
Ooh. Whoa.
I don't take it into heart what they say.
At least
I
you're educated at
watch
what's
CNN,
happening.
And I listen.
What are they
to
telling the
all
masses?
That shit, dude.
And those masses,
exactly. What are they telling them? I don't
those
sit there and,
masses,
and eat my
those are
popcorn.
people who fucking vote. That's who those masses are. Those are
Right.
those are baby boomers, 50 plus, 40 plus.
Right.
60
I
plus,
don't
70
blame them
plus.
either. They think they're doing the right fucking thing,
But they're
dude.
brainwashed by the
They're
TV
not.
because you know what? They sit in. Well, I'm not saying all baby boomers
No,
sit
but
in front of the
baby
TV,
boomers
but I'm
look at
telling
the
you,
news organizations
they
as authority.
listen to the exactly, and that's totally
Millennials
right.
are like they
And
give
that's
the middle
what-
finger to a
That's
news
what the
organization.
awakening is, and that's my big question is, what's the end all be all? We just started at the very beginning, but that's what the awakening is. It's knowing the difference between right and wrong.
Right, knowing the difference between right
Do
and
you
wrong.
know if you're doing the right thing or you're doing the wrong thing? Are you feeding into the conspiracy or are you not feeding into the conspiracy? If you are, you need to stop. Okay?
Right.
That's the awakening.
And-
Take the red.
The red.
Well, understand the blue pill. Understand the blue pill.
Understand it,
and
right.
take the fucking red pill and get the fuck out. If you're
Wake
still
up.
in it, if you think there's a part of your life that is conspiracy, that is an issue, that is part of the problem, that is evil, you need to get the fuck out. You need to take the red pill and commit yourself.
Right.
That's the thing. It's what are we doing? Are we actually, all right, you can awake yourself, but are you going to act on it?
Right.
And acting on it is educating yourself and not contributing to the issue. And on top of that, you need to be the salt of the earth. You need to show everyone else what the problem is. Don't just stop the problem and for yourself.
Help wake people up.
Don't stop
Dude,
exactly.
I was
Help.
I was inspired
Exactly.
by David Icke and and all these other conspiracy theorists and they and mainly Max Egan, and they're like, do something about it. And
Gotta do
that's
something.
why I started this podcast, is because I was part of the Great Awakening. I took the red pill. Listen, I went through the rabbit hole, and I was on the red pill for 2 years before I started this podcast.
Yep.
And there's stages of the red pill. First, there's denial. Then there's acceptance. Then there's fear.
Yep.
Then you go through this phase of, should I just go back to sleep or not? And then I was like, you know what?
Gotta share it.
I need to do something about this. I
Mhm.
couldn't fucking help it, so I
Mhm.
started this fucking podcast.
Yeah.
And I don't ask $1 from people. I don't have any option for you to donate money to me, and I won't. And I do pay monthly for this. You know why? Because I know that if I was to drop fucking dead tomorrow, knock on fucking wood,
Mhm.
that I fucking did something about it.
Yep.
And I'm trying to wake people up and educate you. And we're coming up here on a close, but to talk about what you were talking about, John, about not playing into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I see people who I care about very deeply who are posting things on Facebook and who are talking to me in conversation. What I was getting to earlier is I used to be a big fan of CNN, and I watched this documentary on CNN, and I encourage people to look it up, check it out. It's insane when you look at this. What it says, what it's titled is called Why They Hate Us.
Mhm.
And it's talking about Muslims.
Mm.
Mind you, they hate Trump. CNN hates Trump now, right?
Yeah.
And Trump was
You
wanted
could
to
prove.
ban,
You
want-
can
Trump
prove
wanted
that.
to ban Muslims, right? But
you can-
CNN was talking about why they hate us.
You can
Anyways,
prove
this
that
was-
easily.
This was years before, a year or two. I don't know, maybe longer than that, before Trump
Well,
was
they
president.
don't. They not only hate Trump, they hate most guys who go against the
Against
grain.
them. Against them. Yeah. And so-
Ron Paul, remember him?
Oh yeah.
Remember
I
that
wish-
shit?
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
fucking
fuck.
bad.
Oh yeah, dude.
Bad.
Anyways,
But you can't stop Trump.
this
obviously.
Well, he's a fucking bulldozer, dude.
He's a bulldozer.
And that's what's needed, an insane psychopath bulldozer. You have to
Fucking
be a
bulldozer.
You have to be a psychopath to fight the psychopaths.
Dear Lord.
But
But you know what? It's concerning that he even got elected.
let's not bring up.
How did that happen?
I'm making a point. Let's not open.
I'm
the
sorry.
Can of worms.
All right,
We'll be on
we'll
for another
close.
Hour. But
Bring it up next time.
We'll see. Yeah. Anyways, this documentary called "Why They Hate Us" educates, air quotes, educates you on why the terrorists hate us. Why they're willing to give their lives to fly a plane into a building. Why they're gonna explode themselves in a group of people. Why the war on terrorism exists. Why terrorists exist. Why they hate us. It's exactly what it sounds like, the title, Why They Hate Us. They explain that what happened was way back in the 1920s, people of Muslim community across the world were seeing Western civilization explode. And there was a book that someone of the Muslim faith wrote. And what they were writing was how terrible, disgusting, and evil Western American culture was, and how they said it was going to spread across the world, which it very much has. But what they're saying was the reason why they hate us. Here was my takeaway from the documentary at the time, was that, and here's the words that were wrote: it's disgusting. In America, women show their face.
Oh my God.
In America, they wear clothing, and this is in the 1920s, when the Roaring 20s is what it's called. So when partying was the fucking going on in America right before the Great Depression, and so women would wear dresses that show half of their leg. Men consume alcohol. Pornography is everywhere. That's why they hate us. So you as an American go, oh, they hate us because we're free. Right? They
Freedom.
hate us because women have rights. Women vote.
Women have liberty.
Women have liberty, right? And not just the women part of it, dude, because men will smoke a cigar, drink alcohol, and fucking beat their fucking meat, which is also not fucking okay, right?
Yeah.
Now, again, at the same time, this is true. The Muslim culture doesn't do, most of them don't, that's not acceptable.
You're not allowed to drink.
Right. Fine by me.
Yeah.
But do they truly hate us? They've been programmed to hate us for that.
Yeah.
As we've been programmed to think that they are our enemies because they are a threat to our democracy and our freedom because, well, we're free and we take pride in that. So, of course, we look at each other as the fucking enemy. When in reality, they shouldn't give a fuck with what we're doing over here.
Yep.
Yeah, women show their faces. Yeah, men can only have one wife. Yeah, men drink alcohol. And yeah, pornography is is the most looked up thing on the internet. Period. Okay, the second thing is aliens, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yes. Statistic from last year. I don't know if it's still
Didn't
true.
know that.
But, and then so they're programmed to think that to hate us for that. We're programmed to hate them because they hate us for that. When in reality, who gives a fuck? I respect, dude. I was in the military. I was programmed to not like the Muslim culture.
Yep.
I was programmed to hate it.
Yep.
I respect, dude. You don't drink. You don't fucking jack off. Are you kidding me? Oh,
Yeah.
You respect the beauty and the nature of a woman so much, where you think their hair and face should be hidden and only exposed to the man who she's married to. That's fuck. I tip my hat to you. But at the same time, too, I'm a fucking patriotic motherfucker. I believe in fucking women, liberty, and freedom too. At the same time, I want my wife to go out looking as hot and sexy as she is throughout society, so they can see how fucking amazing she is, and you know what I mean. So it's a double-edged sword. At the end of the day, I have no hate for them, only respect, and I hope they only have respect for us. And that's how the world fucking should be, if you were to ask me.
I like it.
So, it's not your fault that you're asleep. It's not your fault that you think Muslims are fucking evil and bad. It's not Muslims' fault that they think we're evil and bad. And by say we're, what I'm meaning is Western civilization. Take the fucking red pill, wake up, it's going to help you. You're going to go through a stage of fear, of denial. Accept it. And anything that's life-changing is difficult at first. The most difficult things in life are usually the best things for us, the hardest things to encounter. Wake up, take the red pill. Don't just give up and fucking don't pay your bills and your taxes and ignore the IRS or anything. Go ahead, play the game, play by the system, but educate yourself, because you'll realize that when the state of fear that is controlling you and your negative energy that is being created by the constructs of what has created our natural society, you'll realize that, hey, don't worry about it. I'm better than that. And that's my takeaway from it. It was a rough last 3 years since I've been down the rabbit hole. But the end result for me is I am so fucking happy. I pay my bills. I fucking pay taxes. I fucking look into political things. I vote. But you know what? I'm not miserable inside. I don't have hate in my heart for someone who has an opposite viewpoint. Will I argue them? Will I argue someone who thinks guns should be taken away? Fuck yeah, I will. Do I have true hate in my heart, though? Do I go to sleep miserable thinking about it? No. My last thing I want to say, one of the last things I want to say too, fucking stop acknowledging racism. Look, there's racist motherfuckers out there. Trust, obviously. I've seen it in fucking comments. I hear it virtually and physically. There are some racist people out there. Here's how we rid of it. And fucking, what's his name? Actor.
Who?
He played as God in Bruce Almighty.
Yeah,
Black dude. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
We're having brain farts. We've been drinking. We can't remember names for shit. What he said
Morgan Freeman.
Thank you. Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman was asked, why don't you like Black History Month? He goes, I don't want it.
Yeah.
And they're like, why? He goes, do you want a White History Month?
Yeah, White History Month.
And they were like, no.
Yeah,
And he goes,
well, it's not fair, is it?
Well, that's not my point.
I'm just saying, sorry.
He asked them, he goes, do you want White History Month? And they go, no. He goes, exactly. He goes, the way we get rid of racism is we ignore it, that it exists.
Mm-hmm.
Bingo!
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Because all you're doing by caring about the ones who are racist on the inside is just feeding into it. That's what you're doing. So ignore that it exists, and the ones who truly are racist in their heart are going to be weeded out. They're going to be singled out, and they're going to feel like fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Because right now they get highlighted for feeling the way that they do.
Mm-hmm.
So ignore that it exists. Stop thinking that policies and people and things are racist. Stop thinking that other religions and cultures are evil and are out to get you. Stop trusting the news organizations. Stop trusting pretty much most things out there that are in it for profit. And be true to yourself. Be true to your heart. Educate yourself. Play by the game. Don't be some rebellious motherfucker who commits crimes and shit and doesn't play by the system. But love yourself. Stop blaming people. People are not the problem. A small group of criminals with too much power is the problem, not your neighbor.
Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
This kind of episode was owed to you. I had a solo episode last time, and that was this was called The Purpose of Life. I'm pretty quiet and I'm pretty serious. It's quite different from our normal episodes. In the whole month of February, I didn't post an episode, and that was the longest we've gone without one. Like I said, I had the flu. Austin moved out of the state. We had a huge snowstorm up here in the PNW, but we're going to get back to it on a weekly basis here. A longer episode like this episode with as much passion and enthusiasm was owed to you fans. I appreciate all of you out there so much. You are what make this worth it. The best thing you can do for us to give us the resources that we need is to pass us along to your friends. Recommend us to your friends. Maybe not your family, but recommend us. Just kidding. Recommend us to your friends
and family.
Damn right. Recommend us to your friends. Pass us along. We're also out there. We're looking for sponsors. We love you all so much. This is episode 36. I'm Lloyd.
John Nuefer.
I'm Lloyd Smith, by the way. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We will be back with you as soon as possible on episode 37. You folks have a fantastic, wonderful day, morning, or evening. Thanks for tuning in. PackIckesPodcast.com.
Yep.